Hey guys, today I'm filming a story from my great-grandma's book. Today it's called Everyday Life at Our House. Of course, by this time we lived in a larger house. Dad had applied for a homestead loan. We all had our various chores to do. However, we would have to get up early and milk 7 cows before we started for school, and we walked for 4 miles. I often look back now and wonder why we didn't get into some terrible quarrels with each other. However, we were a close family. On Saturday, we would have our hair washed and braided for the week. My chore on Saturday was to clean all the lamp chimneys and trim the wick. I often think now of the 10 virgins who trimmed their wicks and their lights and filled their lamps with oil. We lived 70 miles from the nearest town, Belforge, South Dakota, and only had one little grocery store about 5 miles from our place, where we got the necessities. It also had the post office for the mail. This was called Reddig. Mother and Dad and all 7 children sat at one table. Mother always read the Bible at breakfast time. We all got down on our knees, and Mother had taught us the Lord's Prayer. You see, we only had church service on Sunday every 4 months. A circuit riding preacher, they called them, came through, but Mother taught us about sin, salvation, and Jesus. We had a little booklet that showed a heart of black for sin and a white heart washed by the blood of Jesus. It had pictures of Satan as black with a big pitchfork that made a severe impression on me. I always wanted to be a Christian, and in my childish way I would pray, as I surely never wanted to go to hell. My mother and the little booklet really convicted me. But then again, I didn't really understand what it was all about. We had only the German Bible, and none of us had any schooling or training in reading and writing in German. After harvest time, my parents would take 2 wagon loads of wheat to Belforge, South Dakota to buy the winter supplies, like flour, coffee, sugar, and 1 pair of shoes and clothing for each child. We raised our own chickens, pig, beef, everything in garden supplies, potatoes, carrots, turnips, beans, peas, corn, melons, and cantaloupes. Many of the vegetables were stored in the basement in sand. Much of the vegetables, such as peas, corn, and beans, were cold packed. We all had to help with the canning. Dill pickles, sweet pickles, beets, and peppers were preserved in barrels with dilled watermelon. I had the job of washing the jars, as my hand was the smallest, possibly 400 to 500 at a time. We also put up cucumbers and half-green, half-ripe tomatoes into the barrel of watermelons to fill space. We made our own starch out of potatoes. In the fall each year, they would butcher 2 pigs and a beef. Dad would smoke the hams, and we'd make a lot of sausage. Hamburger patties were cooked and stored in big crocks after the lard was rendered. It was poured over the hamburgers. This too was stored in the basement. Usually the big butchering was done in November before Thanksgiving. How interesting. Dad would take several little wooden blades to scrape the casings. I would be pouring water through them as he scraped them until they were sheer and clean. These were used for the sausage that was smoked. Pork casings were used for the liverwurst. We made our own liverwurst and head cheese. We rendered the fat off the pigs for lard, and the tallow from the beef was saved for soap. We made our own butter, cottage cheese, and nothing was wasted. Incidentally, we made our own laundry soap. There were 2 kinds of fat, and we would use the rinds and grind them to make our own laundry soap. After the lard was rendered from them, by placing the rinds into the oven until the rinds were rendered, we would grind up the rinds and use the grinds to spread on our bread like butter. We had no washing machines. Everything was scrubbed on the washboards We soon learned how to scrub clothes on the washboards and boil them in a large boiler and rinse again, and finally on the line they would go. Monday was wash day, Tuesday ironing, and Wednesday we mended clothes and whatever else it was. You can imagine in the wintertime, we hung these clothes out and sometimes they froze before we could even get them on the line. What gruesome figures they would make. And that's going to be it for today's story. It was a long one. It was a 2-page story. So the first 2-pager that we have out of this series. But if you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe for a new video every Thursday from my great grandma's book. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.